Hello everyone and welcome to Saturday evening and the fourth tutorial for the February Crafternoon Box for 2021. Thank you all for joining me at a different time today. As you know, I went to the zoo today, so that was kind of exciting. So hello Tony, Deb, Sharon, hello. Yes, had a great time at the zoo. Thank you, Tony. Saw lots of amazing animals. We went to the Werribee Zoo. So it's kind of closest to my house, so that was lovely. Had the nieces and nephew and my brother pop over, and Ben and I went to the zoo. Had a lovely day. I think I've got a touch of the sun. I'm a bit warm on the forehead, so we'll see how we go. But it's been a massive day. So I've had a really massive birthday week, and it doesn't finish until tomorrow. So yeah, we'll just keep it on going and see if I can catch some sleep tonight and catch up. Yeah, so Mum did receive a photo of us all on safari this afternoon. We're on the safari tour bus going around the zoo. But thank you all for changing up your day, and I hope moving to 8 o'clock tonight wasn't too much of a drama for you. We'll still get some crafting in, and I don't know how we're going to go at the end of a long day, but we'll see how we go. As you can see, I've got Crafternoon boxes over my shoulder ready to get packed in the next 24, 48 hours. Still waiting for our Gina K order to land here. It's in Australia, so our ink pads are here and cardstock and all the other good things that everybody's ordered over the last couple of months that have taken forever to get from the US to here for all kinds of reasons. COVID delays, stock delays, supplier delays, the big freeze, stopping all of our things, so our shipment managed to get to Chicago and then it just stopped dead. So yeah, that's been really fun and really stressful, kind of trying to answer lots of questions about where is my order that I did 2 months ago, and it's like, it's coming. So yeah, thank you all for your patience on that one, and it will be with you very, very soon. So because we've got the ink pads delayed, I just want to let you know the March kits will be going out this week, which obviously won't get to you in time for us to do a tutorial next weekend. So you've all got the weekend off. But what that does mean is that we will run, I was going to have the Easter weekend off in April and kind of push everything back because there's 5 weekends in April, but we're just going to do that in March instead. So just because of the delays, we will have next weekend off, and that'll just give us a bit of extra time for your box and kits to get to you. Box and kits, boxes and kits. Yeah, I'm tired. I fully admit I'm tired. But yeah, so they're going to come out a little bit later, but you'll have next weekend off, and then we'll get stuck into it, run into the first week of April being Easter, and then by then you should have your April kits ready to do the 4 weeks of April. So yeah, so we should probably get a bit started. I'll flick you down to what's on my desk at the moment. I'm just jumping into Facebook just to make sure. I can't see anyone in there, but that's okay. Actually, there's 3 people in there. So hi to everybody if you are watching on Facebook. Hello also to those of you who have jumped in on YouTube and are chatting away in the comments. Hello, Linda Hum. Thank you for joining us tonight. Good to have you. But tonight we're doing probably the hardest project that I have set you guys so far. And apologies because the acetate lids on these are quite shiny and they like to reflect on my ring light. So pull it down here and I might get half a chance. So there's these lovely rolled flowers in the middle, and they're inside this little cardboard shadow box with a clear cover. You can take or leave the clear cover, whatever you like. Oh, Tony, yeah, you will. We'll always only do 4 a month. So some months when there are 5 Saturdays in a month, we're going to have a weekend off, just to try not to overload the boxes too much. But you'll still get your 4 weekends for the month. So this was one that this is the first one that I made, and it's a little bit kind of plain and simple, and it's fine. It's got this little belly band on it, so if I take that off and pop off that acetate lid, give you a really good look at the detail in these, and hopefully that's coming through really well. So they've just got some really messy glue in the top of the centers, and I'd put some of the little rhinestones. So they're the 3mm rhinestones that came in your Shaker Bits for the February Crafternoon Box. So yeah, I kind of went in a bit of an ombre kind of, you know, vibe, but this is what we're going to make tonight. And while I'm rolling flowers, I'm going to chat a lot to you. So yeah, feel free to not roll flowers with me if you would prefer. Yeah, and join us in the chat box and make comments and, you know, say hi to everybody. I think it's really nice that lots of people have been able to still join on Saturday night, so that's really great. Thanks, guys. So once I can get that back on, slip that little belly band back on. So he's got a belly band. This one I've actually got ribbon and I have affixed it, glued it onto the back. What is that on there? Some random piece of junk off my craft table. So that's glued down, so I can't actually take the lid off this one, which is a shame because then I can't really see the nice detail, but let's get into it. So in your kits you will all have these weird looking crazy shapes. I have a couple of different shades than you guys have got because I thought I'd be clever last night and pre-record doing this one. And I hit record and I talked for an hour and I rolled all of these little flowers and it didn't save. So, and I'd only cut enough of these for us to do that extra one. So my Cricut Maker got a bit of a workout at about 11 o'clock last night where I, burned out a few new ones and got these going. So you'll have these in your kits. You're also going to need your box bottoms and these little bits that fall out, they pop out of that spot, and the lids, so they are in your kits as well. You will also need one piece of cardstock that is at least 12 inches in length. Now you're only going to need a little 5/8 wide strip for the belly band, so don't panic. Whatever you've got, it can be something from the kit, it can be some other piece of cardstock that you've got. As long as it's 12 inches long, it should reach around, so that will be fine. I also have a piece of, this is just scrap white cardstock. I've used it for something else, and I've got this. This one you're going to need a piece that is at least 11 by 11 centimeters. So we're going to need that. That's to make a little platform in the shadow box. You're also going to need a piece of cardstock. Now in these examples I've used coloured, so just the Kaisercraft Weave coloured cardstock. I wanted to mix this one up. I used coloured cardstock in this one and I used coloured cardstock with some of our patterned papers in the bottom for that one, just to give it a little bit of a different background to play off. But I actually have a little bit of this glitter cardstock. So this is the Couture Creations white glitter cardstock. And I'm going to use that because I just want a little bit of sparkle in the background for the next one. And I want a really solid white background to pop those flowers off. So that piece of cardstock you're going to need to be able to cut 12.7 by 12.7 centimeters or thereabouts. I've also got my rhinestones. I've got my the smallest heart out of my Small Hearts die set from Paper Rose that's in your boxes. I've already cut a couple of these, were loose out of previous projects that I'd done where I'd cut some extras, so they're just out of cardstock. I've got a couple of my sentiment strips left, so I'll pick one of those at some point. They're already cut down, so that makes it a little bit easier, and I'm kind of scraping the bottom of my box. I've got the rhinestones. I've also got, and you're going to want something like this, so just a clear acrylic block. We're not going to do any stamping with it, but it is going to be a little weight. So if you don't have clear acrylic blocks, you can use something else that, you know, has a just a bit of weight to it. It might be, you know, preferably something with a flat bottom, because we're going to put the roses underneath to hold them down while the glue's drying. I've got my craft mat out. I've got a little bit of foam tape. You don't need a lot. You don't need it at all. So if you have, great. I've also got a ruler. I've got a pencil. I've got my scissors. I've got a bone folder. I have my tweezers. And I have some liquid glue. I've also got this little guy. Now yours in your box may come in pink or blue, so depending on what color you got and how lucky you're feeling, you might have got the lucky dip in one, or you might have been like, I wish I had another color. But this is your quilling tool. So you'll notice on this end, and it's really tiny, but there's a little slot that goes halfway down, and you can actually pop your fingernail or a piece of cardstock in there. So I'll show you how to use that in a bit. So first of all, let's get the base of everything cut up and lined up and ready to go, so that then I can clear a few extra things off my off my mat. So I'm just going to grab my paper trimmer, and I have again mucked around with my settings, and things do and don't fit on the on camera. So this one, as I said before, I'm just going to cut just a strip that is 5/8 wide. Just got to get this to sit in here. So that's 12 inches long. Get out, by 5/8. So that is your belly band. Pop that away because you're not going to need that until closer to the end. So the plain scrap piece of cardstock that you're going to cut out, that is 11 by 11 centimeters. So if you're not cutting as we go along, just write the measurements down. So if you're not a centimeters person, you can also go 4 3/8. So that's just a square. And then I've got, so for whatever piece of coloured cardstock that you want to use for the background for your flowers, for your shadow box, I'm using this sparkly. I'm actually going to cut that upside down so that it works a little bit better with my blades. So you're going to cut that at 12.7 by 12.7. 5, 6, 7. Did I just cut that the right size? It's going to be one of those days. Oh, yeah. Oh, good. Okay, so that is literally all you're going to need your paper trimmers for. So if you want to whip them out of the way. Now I'm going to take the base of our little box. Now the shiny side is the outside. So a little bit of a glossy bits and pieces there. So I'm going to just take the, you've got the square bottom in here. Flip it over so you've got the flat side up, and then just fold. I'm just going to pre-fold everything if you like. So just the two closest lines to the middle of the box. Just fold things over so that pre-creases those. And I'm just going to fold over these. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait until that's folded over and then pre-fold these little tabs up. And the same on the other side. So fold that one over and then fold the little tab in on that side. Fold the little tab in on that side. All good. So once we've got those little guys folded, you can take a little bit of glue. So if you are so inclined, I'm using a lot of liquid glue on this project today, but just a little bit on the inside of there. It's just going to help things to stay where they need to be while you're putting this box together. You could also use some tear tape or some glue runner, totally up to you. It's going to glue, oops, if it ever wants to come out. It's been laying flat, so not the best for it. Fold that one over and just give it a bit of a press so that it stays. Can you use something else if you don't have a quilling tool? You can. It's going to be a little bit tricky, Linda. For this one, we need to roll it really, really, really super tight. You can try something like a toothpick and just cut the kind of pointy end off. but it is going to be a little bit tricky to sort of start getting that going. So a toothpick, a skewer, just like a barbecue skewer, you can have a go. It's going to be really fiddly, and you'll see why when we start getting going, is that you really just need kind of the torque on that end to kind of hold the paper where it's going and keep things quite tight. So yeah, we'll definitely have a look at that once we start rolling things. Did you not get one in your box? Did I miss one out? I hope not. If not, I will get you one. Awesome. So then when we go to flip to the other side of our box, so we're still the flat side up. I'm just going to pop a little bit of liquid glue along there. So before we fold this one over, we're actually going to fold these little tabs up, and then by bending this one up on that side and bending this one up on this side, you're then just going to tuck those in where that score line is, and then bring this flap over and fold along where this little tab is in there. You should be able to kind of hold that just while the glue grabs. Ooh. Except that most of my glue is now on the inside of those tabs, so you probably want to put a little bit of glue maybe on this side, and then it will grab. So just hold your little tabs in, fold that over, hold that there. Now if you wanted to, you can grab, here's one I prepared earlier. It's a bit big, it's a bit of overkill, but you can grab a bulldog clip and just hold that in place while you spin around and work on the other side. So again, it's just fold those little tabs in, pop your glue on this part of the flap. Oh, Linda, I must have had a brain fart with yours. I'm sure. Do you not have a pink or a purple one, a pink or a blue one of these in your kit? Yeah. I will get you one. All right, so this side of the glue will have dried, so I'm just going to move my bulldog clip to that side. And that's pretty much done. We don't really need to do anything else with that until we start assembling in a little bit. So we'll grab the lids. Again, they've all been pre-scored. They all fold. If you kind of have it sitting there, you can see that things are already sort of starting to bend downwards. So just fold those down and give them a really firm kind of pinch so that they are nice and sharp folds and not kind of wobbly, loose ones. And just fold those little tabs over and then just lock these little pieces into those little squares. So I've done mine from the inside and out. All you need to do is just make sure that that corner is sharp. You can, if it's easier, do it from the outside and then just push that tab in and just make sure it folds across and locks. Okay, so just do that on all of your corners. Like that. Not that you can find, but new puppy, so I'll keep looking. Yeah, let's blame Shadow. Poor Shadow. The new puppy gets the blame for all manner of missing things, I'm sure. I heard your neighbours found Shadow down the street the other day. Had a little bit of a runaway. Cool, so once your lid is together, that can go off to the side with your base. Alrighty, so let's prepare the inside trays. So this is my scrap paper. So this is the 11 by 11 centimeter piece of cardstock. It doesn't need to be anything particularly heavy because it's not holding much weight. If you wanted to load up your shadow box with heavier things, then you might want to make sure that it's a solid cardstock. But all we really need to do is just measure 1 centimeter in on all sides. What am I doing here? Gosh, I can't even today. I am just a bit dead. Cool. So once you've got your little marks, just grab a bone folder or a scoring tool, and just along those lines, just give your card a bit of a score. Make a few folds. Twice in 3 days, Linda, he got out. Ah, his escape has been foiled. That's good. You don't want him going missing. Alrighty, so once I've scored all of those, you can only just see that on camera there. Just take your little craft scissors and cut out the little squares in each corner. Again, I'm trying to keep my matte edge at the bottom of my camera, and then I'll know where when my hands are actually in frame. That would be a good idea. So again, this is the bottom kind of platform, because the box is quite deep and the flowers aren't that tall. If you like, you can skip this part altogether and just have a really deep box, but that's up to you. So then once you've cut those little corners out, you should just be able to fold these over. Just like that. So it makes a little tray. We're going to put it, obviously, open side down so that this forms a little platform for our next piece of cardstock, which is going to be the reverse of this. And it'll be the pretty side on what's currently the inside. So if I take my little shadow box, this is going to go upside down. Oops. And it should just sit. You know, it's not perfect, it won't fit perfect, it's just to give it a little bit of a base. So you'll have a bit of a gap around to kind of play with. Okay. Then we'll take this section of cardstock. So this one, you might have a coloured piece, you may have a piece with a section of pattern paper inside, totally up to you. Now on this piece, we're going to measure 1.5 by 1.5 centimetres in. So 1.5 centimetres from either side. Make a couple of little tools in my way. Just a little mark. Make sure that you do it on the underside of the card, or the side that you're not going to have facing up. Just so that you can rule your lines and you don't have to go back and rub anything out or worry about having marked up your cardstock. And again, now this is the reverse way to fold normally, because if I'm going to score this, it's going to make the mound side on the other side. But for this, it's not really going to matter too much. So just go ahead and score all of these. Just giving them a good going over so they bend nice and crisp. Great. And that is all I'm going to need my score tool for tonight, so I can put that away. And then again, we just cut these little corners out, just kind of neatly. It doesn't need to be the most amazing cutting that you've ever done in your life, but you know, try and keep it straight. Dun, dun, dun. Wonderful. So once that part is done, you can just fold your cardstock over. just burnish those corners. Now see how this side, it's cracked. That cardstock's just cracked because I've folded it the wrong way to the way the score line's done. But because this is the underside and it's actually going to be sitting in a crease inside the box, it doesn't really matter. If I was folding this and making that a card, I don't know if you can see clearly, but see how that's a really rough edge? If you'd folded it the wrong way, your card's going to look a bit messy. Unless you're going for a rustic look, and then that's a really nice kind of edge. But for this, don't worry about it. Okay, so once you've got your little framed box up again, and mine's got the sheen side up, I'm going to pop this, it will fit, just nice and neatly inside that as a bit of a liner. Now, it's up to you whether you want to leave it as is, and you might have a little bit of a gap between here. But what I found that worked really nicely was to either grab some liquid glue and pop that along in there, or where'd it go? I've got this double-sided tape. It's Couture Creations double-sided tape. It's super thin, and my favorite part about this is I can just tear it. You can get lots of different brands of this kind of tape, but I find it's nice and quick to just put on a project, do my favorite bit. It's meant to be a quick and easy thing of, tear back the backing paper. This never works for me on camera. Tear that off. Press it onto your work, and then it's done. It's stuck. You don't have to wait for anything to dry. It's really thin, so you don't have to worry about it adding a lot of bulk to your cards. You can get it in different thicknesses as far as the width of the tape itself, not the height. So yeah, there's a few really good positives to using a tape that you can tear. It's one less thing that I have to, pick up my scissors and cut the end of it and then, muck around. And it's a little bit more economically friendly in some ways, I suppose, than using the tape runner, because I don't have a plastic package at the end that I need to throw out, but you do have the backing paper that you need to dispose of. So I guess it's, what irritates you more as far as making waste from your crafting. I'm always trying to find better ways, she says as she tries to pick off backing paper, just better ways to, I guess, limit what I put out into the world as far as rubbish and recycling goes. So always consider it. I can't always, I can't eliminate it all. But, we can all do our little bit. How's everybody going so far? I feel like there's lots of heads down, fingers working, and not much chatter going on, ladies. And gents, if you happen to be watching. I don't want to pretend that only females craft. Okay, so one edge to go. All good if you're using liquid glue. It'll just take you a little bit longer for this to dry, but that's okay, because once we've taped these side pieces up, we're going to move on to rolling the flowers. Okay. So as you can see, that just means that all of my pieces are stuck nice and smoothly to the edge, and it just gives it a little bit of a nicer finish than, bits that might be a little bit off in there. So there's a little bit of a white edge, a couple of millimeters at the top here, then my my glittery paper all the way across. So there's a nice little kind of line, border, white shadow around the edge, if you've got the other boxes happening different colours against it. Okay, here we go, guys. Are we working? Tony's making her box. Good on you, Tony. Sharon not watching. not doing it, watching you intently, and Deb's watching as well. Well, that's okay. Alrighty, here we go. So it doesn't matter which way you hold these. It's completely up to you. I'm a right-hander, so adapt. If you're left-handers, this might not feel comfortable, and if it doesn't, then just try it the opposite way. But you're going to take the on this spiral patterned piece of paper, cardstock. You're going to take this end, so the outside end. You're going to just slot your cardstock into your quilling tool, like so. Try and get the rest of it off so you can see a little bit more clearly. And then if you can just get your tool as close as you can to the end without it flipping off. And then just so gently just start turning. So I'm just rotating now. This is going for me clockwise to the right. And what you're going to do is you're going to try and keep the top edges at the top and the bottom edges to stay at the bottom edge here. So as you're rolling, just I use my thumb to kind of keep things quite tense. I use my forefinger on my left hand at the top to kind of keep things pushed down. And every now and again, you'll see me kind of nudge with my right finger just to push these little guys back into line. So we just start rolling. Keep tension on the cardstock. Just be careful not to tear it, but it is a little bit more sturdy than using some of the craft papers or the quilling papers even, because they're really quite fragile. So just keep rolling and rolling and rolling. All right, I'll stop now. I'm already It does sound like rolling target, Linda. So for those who don't know, target is like a lino dance floor surface that they use for a lot of dance schools and ballet and things like that. And rolling a roll of that, which can be, 15, 20 meters long, and everything kind of goes off and wobbles around, and you're trying to manage it back into shape so that it doesn't end up 3 times as long a roll as the width of the the lino that you're rolling is a bit of a nightmare. I reckon rolling it's better than taping it and getting it into place, but that might just be me. So just keep rolling. Now you are going to come to a point where this starts to get a bit big and cumbersome, particularly with this flower. Now you can kind of, if you wanted to make a smaller rosette, you can kind of get to a point where you stop, but you've got to be able to fix it at the bottom. And with these ones, because they're so long, there's not a spot to fix it until this little disc down here at the bottom. So for the moment, I'm just going to go through, roll, 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 roll. But when you get to a point where you kind of can't manage the size of it, and for me that's a little bit further along, what I then do is I keep my quilling tool inserted into the middle of the flower, and I just start to roll things with my fingers up here. So I've got finger top and my thumb at the bottom on the right fingers, and my left one is still just keeping tension on the top. I've got my middle finger, my rude finger on the bottom here, and I'm just kind of keeping it all, keeping the show together. So if you've gotten to that point where holding the quilling tool and keeping tension on everything isn't working for you, go to using your fingers. All you're looking for is for this section under here to look as close together as possible. The only thing that's going to happen if you make that a bit looser is that your base piece here isn't going to be big enough for you to actually stick things on. And what you might want to have around are a couple of pieces of cardstock that are a little bit bigger that you can pop some glue on, and you can then stick your flower onto that. And then you can just cut around that a little bit later. So see how you go. In a perfect world, you'll get down to this little spot at the end of your spiral, and you will be able to glue to that. So for this, I'm getting to a point where for me, I'm getting really close to this. And at this stage, I need to hold my flower. So I've got my thumb, my forefinger, and my middle finger on top, holding the whole shebang together. And I'm just going to gently pull that out. So that's why I need my thumb to be here and hard up against that quilling tool, so that when I pull that out, this whole thing doesn't just like a streamer. because we don't want that. Okay, so we're just going to get a little bit closer to the end. All right, and I'm about as far as I can go. So then while you're holding the flower there, you're going to pop this over, because where you're going to glue this to is this little circle here. So it's the one on the very end, just the little blob on the end. And I'm going to put a fair amount of liquid glue on here, because I want all of those different layers of the cardstock in here. I want them, as many of them as possible, to be stuck to the bottom. It'll stop it from unraveling. So then I'm just going to wind this around until I get to the point where you kind of can't go any further without the glue touching. And then I'm just going to pop the lid on. So this is, the rose is upside down at the moment. I'm going to hold pressure on the bottom and the top of my rose. I'm just going to give that a little bit more time until I think that glue has started to go off. It doesn't take too long, and particularly if you don't put too much on, but you just want to keep pressure, your whole thumb on that dot and on the top, to kind of get that to bond together. And then once you think you've held it for long enough, I'm going to pop that down, and I'm just going to, if I can balance today. No, it's not. Yeah, come on. Pop my acrylic block on top of there. And it's just going to hold that down. Oh, and it's in a shocking spot for you. There we go. So that acrylic block's just going to hold enough pressure on there to keep that rose, and while the glue's setting, keep it in position. And then we'll do it all over again, and we're going to do that 9 times. So has anybody got any questions at the moment, now that they've seen that? Any random crazy questions? Jump in on Facebook. Nobody's got comments in there, so that's okay. Seems we've got everybody. We've got 6 of you over on YouTube, so that's awesome. Okay, well, chuck a comment in if you've got a question. If you want to start swearing already, I'm already envisaging Carrie. She had a go at it the other day, and she did really well. But it did require a lot of attention and patience, and that's not Carrie's forte. So she was like, "I'll wait until the tutorial." But you pretty much had it. You pretty much had it. So pop the quilling tool in and just start rolling. Just try and keep top and bottom even, and just keep pressure and tension on the cardstock as you go around. So let me tell you all about my birthday week. So my birthday was on Tuesday. I think you all said happy birthday to me last week, so that's amazing. Tuesday night, Ben and I went out for an amazing all-you-can-eat Japanese dinner at a place called Okami, Okami. And they're a franchise like right around the country. They've got lots of stores, and they're opening new ones all the time. So we went out, I was like $38 each, and we ate for like 2 hours. It was kind of like Yum Cha. You just grab the menu, order a couple of dishes, they go and get it, plonk it on your table, you eat that, you order some more, and it just keeps on coming. It was really great food, pretty good service. Green tea, ice cream, and black sesame ice cream for dessert. And I think they were either called takai or tayaki. And they were these little pastry fish, like in the shape of a fish. They were about that big. And inside they had this green tea custard type filling. And it was delicious. I've never had one of those before, and I tell you what, I'll be back for those. They were yum. Now, that's okay, that'll be glued. If you've gotten to a particular point with your flower and this happens, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that as a flower. You're probably just not going to fit it in your shadow box, or you might not fit as many, but it's still totally fine. But if you want to roll it back up tightly, just grab your quilling tool and you should be able to see in, let me see if my camera will pick it up. So in the middle, can you see there's like a tiny little fold in the middle, just a little stripe that's in the middle? You're just going to try and poke your quilling tool back in over that little section, because that's your little starter point. And Linda, that's what I was saying with not having a quilling tool and only having like a toothpick or something. You won't have this to be able to kind of wind against. You could try using a Stanley knife or a craft knife to make a little notch in the toothpick at the end. And you want to go, it's probably about 7 to 10 mil in, but it only needs to be as wide as the like, it doesn't need to be very wide, just wide enough to fit the paper into, so it doesn't need to be a big notch. But then you can just, kind of give it a go. So with this, I've just, rewound my rows. I've gotten to a point where I kind of just need to manhandle it a bit now. Pull my quilling tool out there. So, inevitably it's going to unwind on you on about the 6th one. And you're going to need to go back to the YouTube and rewind back to where I've just shown you how to kind of feed it back on. But it's not rocket science, so you'll figure it out. You're all clever people. Okay, so I'm just going to, hello, anytime today, glue. Pop my liquid glue on there. Pull that around to the side and pop the lid on. Bit of pressure. And we're just going to keep going and going and going and going. So as you're finishing these, I know that I'm going to want my petals to be a little bit more fanned out, just to fill up some more space inside my shadow box. So you may want to do this step a little bit later, but I know already that mine are quite tight, and I'm going to want to just fan these out a little bit, these little petals, just to give it a little bit more dimension, particularly because we're looking at it from this angle, not from the side angle. But that's not to say that you won't, make flowers like this at a later date and stick them onto something, and you do need to see them from the side. So you can fan these out now, you can fan them out later, totally up to you. Some of the ones that are a bit closer in, you might need to use your quilling tool and just pop it in the center of the petal and just gently give it a fold. And you might need to move it around the edge of the petal just so that you don't get a straight line crease in your cardstock, like this one here. But it just means that you can get like just a pointier piece into your work, and it does help it to fold. Just be careful that you don't end up tearing it, because you can, but my fingers, they're fairly little, but they do sort of struggle to get into those little bits a little. All right, let's keep going. So the birthday week continued. So my birthday present to myself this year was a, this is so funny. I've been wanting one for ages. So when I pack boxes, I've been using, obviously, packing tape. So it's, a couple of inches wide. And I've literally been rolling it off, cutting it with the scissors and taping it to the edge of the desk and then taping your boxes up. And that gets really tedious. And I was actually having to go, I was having to lay everything out on a trestle table and take over the kitchen to pack, 20 boxes at a time. So I was getting a little bit much. And I'd said to myself, I just want like a heavy duty industrial packing tape with tape dispenser. So I brought one for myself. I went to Officeworks and I brought one. And I'll show you. Where's it gone? Because I'm pretty happy with myself. Not only did I get one for packing tape, but it's also got one in the side for littler tape. So I haven't filled that bit up yet, but yeah, happy birthday to me. What's the dumbest thing you've ever gotten for your birthday that you've bought for yourself or that someone else has bought for you? I think I've just topped my list. I don't think I've ever gotten a more silly gift, specifically one that I've bought for myself. But I really needed it. And, because we're building a house, I've kind of gone, let's not do birthday presents and Christmas presents and things like that this year. So anyway, so that happened. Yeah, and I gave myself the day off work for my birthday. I think I deserved it, so that was good. I didn't have to answer phones all day for 8 hours talking to people about their study options. So that was good. And then this morning we went out for brunch with Ben's dad and stepmom, and we went to a great place in Williamstown called TikTok. That's spelt not like TikTok, the app. It's TICK and then TOK. But we ate outside. They've taken over some of the parking along the foreshore and turned it into cafe seating, which was amazing because it's like you don't have car exhausts from cars backing in and parking against the cafes and getting exhaust fumes in your breakfast. And I had I took my birthday week privilege of being able to order my dish and also tell Ben what he was going to eat so that I could have half of mine and half of his, and I could enjoy 2 dishes that I wanted on the menu instead of having to choose between the 2. So I had Japanese souffle pancakes, and they were like huge. They were massive, but they had this amazing salted caramel sauce on the side. Great for a type 2 diabetic. Really good choice for me. And they had this smashed honeycomb all over the plate, and it was really, really delicious. And the dish that I chose for Ben, and look, I did kind of think about him. He's a massive fan of jalapenos, and I'm a massive fan of sweet corn fritters. So on the menu, they had these sweet corn fritters with avocado mash and jalapenos. So I made him order those. So, I'm kind of glad I did because, to be honest, the souffle pancakes were fantastic. But the caramel sauce, which, I just can't stop myself. If it's on my plate, I'm going to eat it. But eating the half of what was put on my plate was way over the top. And yeah, I probably shouldn't have had the amount that I had, but I did. And yeah, I'll just watch my sugars, or not watch my sugars, and just give it a day or 2 and hope for the best. But yeah, so that was brunch. And Bill and Sandra gave me for my birthday. I thought paying for brunch was enough, to be honest. And I didn't really expect much more than that. But as we were leaving, they pulled out of their car a brand new Sunbeam Mixmaster that Sandra actually has one, and I'd been eyeing off at her house. We went up and stayed there a couple of weekends ago. And I was like, wow, this is really good. Like, it's really fast, and it whipped the cream in no time for the pavlova that we were making, and it was whiz bang. But I've got a really old Kenwood, and it's great. But I bought it secondhand, and the motor's burning out a bit on it, and it's a bit stinky when I cook with it, and yeah, it's heavy and it's it's bulky, and anyway, this new one is very, very sexy. So I was really excited. I was really thankful. It was completely unexpected and not necessary, but I appreciate it. It was a really lovely gift and, yeah, really thoughtful. So that was that. And then we came home and my brother and his kids were here, and so they got to have some time with their little dog George, who we've been looking after for, wow, quite a few weeks now. Might even be heading into the months plural at the moment. So we've had them for a while. So they've been put out of their house because of a flooding issue and an insurance claim. And I don't know if anyone's ever had this happen, but it seems to be a bit of a long-winded nightmare process where nobody's in control and nobody's organised. Nobody knows what's going on and no one communicates. So it's a little bit like the people building our house, really. So I'm wondering if maybe it's a construction industry thing, or if this is an insurance industry thing. I don't know. But it's all a little bit long-winded. But they think now maybe they might only be like less than 2 weeks away. So we'll see. We'll put the countdown clock on, but we won't bank on it, shall we? Look, we really don't have anywhere to be until the second week of April, the second weekend in April, where we need to head off to South Australia for Ben's cousin's wedding, which was put off last year due to COVID, and we're like super stoked to go over to it. But we've only just had the borders to South Australia reopen today, which is great. We just want them to stay open for for the next month and a couple of weeks, and get us across there, get this wedding done, have a big party, celebrate Mel and Ricky, and just be able to see them sort of move on with their life, and it'd be really lovely. So we'll see how that goes. But we've got George in the meantime for that. So that's really nice. He's a nice little snuggle puppy. He likes to squish up really close to you in bed or on the couch. He like literally sits in the crook of your legs, and he's fun to have around. What's happened? Oh, Tony, you've got arthritic fingers. It is pretty hard on the fingers. I'll give it that much. I apologise for doing something so hard. It'll probably take me 9 days just to do the rest of the flowers. Yeah. Look, this is one of those things that you just, pick it up and put it down. Pick it up and put it down after you've done one. You'll get there. I know you will, because you want the final product. You want to be able to have that little shadow box on on your desk or on a little shelf somewhere on a bookshelf. How many of those have I got? I've got 3 of those colours. Okay, good. All right. So I cut 4 of each, so that one can go away. We'll get into this one. This one is called Merlot, this colour, and rightly so, because it does look like Merlot. Yeah. So what else is happening? So tomorrow, the birthday shenanigans continue. So tomorrow we're going to brunch with Ben's mum, and we're going into Yarraville, we used to live in Yarraville. We're going to a little cafe that Sheridan picked, which is great. She's done all the planning, and I only realised tonight when I looked it up, because I was like, oh, where are we going again tomorrow? And it's a cafe. I used to work at Flight Centre in Yarraville, probably 4 or 5 years ago now, maybe more, I don't know. I lose track of the years so quickly. But I used to park a couple of streets away, and I'd walk past this cafe, and I'd pop in there and get a hot chocolate and a croissant almost every morning on my way in. So I was like, oh, good. I already know the place. I know what the food's going to be like, which is great. And it's going to be a really lovely morning. So that will be nice. We haven't seen Sheridan for a while. We're probably going to take some of the extra samples that we've got for some of the finishes that are going into our house. Take those in and show her, because we've chosen the carpet now for the bedrooms. So that was a little bit of a saga in itself. And then after brunch, we're going to go out to the block and see what has happened in the last week. So we were out there on Sunday and then and then on Monday, so we went out on Sunday to have a look at what progress had been made on the 2 days that we weren't in lockdown in Victoria the week before. So just before lockdown, they'd done the Friday. We think it was only 1 day of work, because they'd kind of only done half a brick wall. So half a brick wall, most of its windows. It's probably a bit trickier than I think to, kind of brick around a window frame or window hole. It just seemed like nothing had really happened. So that was Sunday. Then on Monday, we got a phone call from the builder, from our site manager, to say, hey, you know how you chose 8 months ago the roof tiles for your house? Yeah, we can't get that colour at the moment. They're out of stock, and it's going to take weeks and weeks and weeks to get it in. So if you don't want to wait, we'll upgrade your tiles to a different brand. But I've got a sample of what I think is the closest colour match. So can you drive back out to the block today? And everything that we have to do for the builder is always like at a second's notice. But anything we need from them takes weeks. So yeah, can you come out? Can you have a look at the sample and let me know straight away? So we drove back out to the block on Monday night. And this was after they'd done 2 extra days of work on the Thursday, Friday after the circuit breaker lockdown. So they had 3 days off. They'd done 2 days of work. Then they'd had a 2-day weekend. And then they'd had an industrial RDO on the Monday. It's like, guys, you just had 3 industrial RDOs the week before. So anyway, these guys don't work weekends. So yeah, we're kind of like, I wonder how much work they've done in 4 days this week. So hopefully there's a little bit more progress, but we've kind of resigned ourselves to the fact that if they've actually finished that one wall that they've started, we'll be impressed. So that's been fun. Fun, but not fun. A little bit frustrating. Oh, Deb, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you've got arthritis and this is really hard. Do you know what you need to do? Enlist some little helpers with nimble fingers to make the flowers for you, and just make the rest, and then just place the flowers. We've got kids, grandkids, people who can help craft. I had my middle niece, well, both of my nieces and my nephew were over today, obviously, because we went to the zoo. And because my Cricut Maker is out at the moment, my middle niece, who's the craftaholic of the family, she hadn't seen the Cricut Maker in action. So we put some cardstock and some foil into the Cricut Maker, and she made a little, it was a little card. The project that we did was it was like an invitation, like a wedding invitation holder. So it was like a card, and then it had a little pocket on the inside. And it cut it all as one big piece and scored it all. And she chose some rose gold foil to do the lovely embellishment on the front, and it came out really pretty. And she said to me, I can glue this into my art journal and tuck little things into the pocket. And I was like, oh my God, she's 10. And she's got 10,000% more talent, craft, creativity, and ideas than I have. I'm like, she's going to be so good. She's going to be so good. But we were talking today about having them over during the upcoming school holidays. And I said to her, do you want to come on and do a live tutorial with me? And she's like, oh, yeah. So stay tuned, because Miss Reagan is all G'd up, ready to get on and show you all how to do some crafts. So I don't know what she's got planned. It'll probably be an addition to the oh, you would say that, Sharon. She's learned from the best. Yeah, Grandma taught her well. Yeah, I don't know what she wants to do. Well, it'll be an addition to the Crafternoon Box. And I said to her, well, you know, if you start a tutorial, maybe you need to, maybe you'll need to keep going, and you'll need to start the Crafternoon Box Junior. So she was a bit excited about that. And the older niece, she's 12, going on 13 shortly, and she's into gaming and streaming and stuff like that, and she's she's super excited because once she turns 13, she's legally allowed to have a YouTube channel. So she's been making a little title screen for when she can start her YouTube channel, and she's been practicing recording herself and seeing what looks good in the background and playing with that. So I think she's going to be our vision switcher for the day when we do the tutorial. And my nephew Bailey, oh look, he'll probably just be running around annoying the dog. He's 8, so he's not too interested in sitting still for an extended period of time. But yeah, he and Uncle Ben might paint some. They might paint some little Dungeons and Dragons minis. I think they enjoy doing that when they come here, and it actually keeps them quiet for quite a long time. Surprisingly, not much else does. Technology definitely keeps them quiet for a while. But yeah, normally we go down to the skate park, and they get on their scooters and ride off right off concrete platforms that look like they're scary as heck. And we just kind of cross our fingers and hope that we don't have to take them to the hospital. But they've got a little bit more fear this time. The last time we took them, they had a little bit more fear than they did the first time we took them. Hey guys, I've got 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I can count. Me and maths, hey? It was not my strong suit. I still don't know my 7 times tables. That's what I call a 3. Yeah, it is a 3-ring circus, Grandma. All right, so we're on the last one. And that's good because I've been talking for an hour at you, and whew, it's been a big day. So yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. So we're going out to the block tomorrow afternoon to see how much brick has been laid. They may or may not have put tiles on site if they've been able to order the ones that we've now chosen. Yeah, if we're lucky, they'll have started some tiling over the top of the bricking, because that's what our builder decided he wanted to do. He wanted to start moving things along. Finally, mate, we've been building for 20 weeks or something. And you finally want to start moving. Okay. But we've got a build contract that's 52 weeks, so a whole year. But we're just hoping it finishes sooner rather than later. We'd like to move house before the winter rain comes, because I don't know if you've ever moved on a rainy day, but it's not fun. And the new house it's not like moving into an established house where you've got grass and pathways and things all done. It's going to be a little bit like, okay, there's going to be mud everywhere and yeah, dirt getting tracked into the house. So yeah, we'd like to move before Melbourne's wet season arrives. We love the cold weather and we love the rain, but not on moving day. And Linda, I think you'll agree with me, we don't like the rain on bump-in day either. So bump-in is the term that theatre people use for, basically unloading a truck and setting up all the set and the lighting and the dressing rooms and getting everything ready to start a show. So you have bump in and bump out. So for Ben and I, who've been in the theatre industry for 20 odd years each, yeah, moving day is like bump in and bump out. So yeah, but we just can't wait to leave the rental market behind and not have to pay anybody else's mortgage again for the rest of our lives. It'd be nice. And of course I get my new craft room, so why would I not be excited about that? All right, I'm going to pop that on there. I'm just going to put a few of these, or bend a few of these out so that I can get them ready. And then I'll find a little place in my little box, my shadow box, to get this going. No, just no. Yeah, I'm not a fan of bump ins and bump outs in the rain, Linda. Especially where Linda works. So it's to get things into the theatre, and sometimes you'll be able to just kind of walk straight in the back door or walk straight off the back of a truck into a loading dock and into the theatre. But no, Linda works in a venue where you have to go up, I don't know, is it 2 or 3 stories high, Linda? So you come out of the truck into an elevator, up the elevator a couple of stories, and then sort of into the back of the stage. So it makes things a little bit messier and a bit harder to have to go that extra step. Gets a bit tedious. It's a bit dangerous with water and slipping, and yeah, it's never a fun time. So yeah, we like to wish people a dry bump in. where we can. Okay, we're getting there, we're getting there. This was always going to take a bit longer than some of our other tutorials, and mostly the projects will take, you know, an hour, a little bit more. The cards can normally be done a little bit quicker. This one's a little bit more. So while I've got you guys, I'm going to be launching April on a Monday, the 1st of March. And then we're literally only going to have the orders open for a week. So just till the end of the week. So if you're not already a subscriber, if you are already a subscriber, you're fine. April's good. Your payment will come out on the 6th of the month, 7th of the month. And it's the 6th of the month America time, which is the 7th for us here in Australia. So your payment will just come out automatically, and then your box will get shipped to you, and then you'll just do the tutorials when they happen. If you haven't subscribed yet and you have been watching our tutorials and going, oh, this looks like fun, yes, you might have materials at home that you can make things with, but we throw in some extras. And, you get your tools and things like that. And then, you've got exactly what we're using to, kind of make the project. So we'd love for you to subscribe and join our little family. And, if you're a subscriber already, but you've got a friend who would really love, they'd love it, get them in. You can always pause your subscription, which is why we launched the next month. So if it's not your color palette, or you're going away on holiday and you're not going to have time to do the projects, pause your subscription. It's totally fine. And then just come back the next month when you like the look of things. Until we got the elevator in 2009, we had to walk everything up 3 flights of metal stairs. Yeah, that sucks. 2009, did it really go in that long ago? Okay. I would have thought it was a little bit newer, but no, you're probably, yeah, it's probably been a while. Okay, so I'm going to get down to, let's assemble this and get it finished so that we can, see some work done. So previously I did a layout which was a bit ombre, so just a lighter to darker tone. This second one that I did, I just mixed up the colours in the box, and I think that's fine. So this is where you can kind of just place your flowers in, see if it's the kind of, oops, I'm just going to see if this is an ombre look that I like this time. Yeah, I think that looks nice with the just little glittery background in there, and I can space these out a bit. I've just loosely plonked them in there for the time being. So then what I'm going to do with those is, you might want to take stuff out and just do a, you might want to do a square set, and you might have a little greeting of some kind that you want to pop in there, or you've got a stamp that you want to use that you can stamp on and do in there. You might want to, pop a couple in the corner, and, you might want to tilt them up on the side a little bit and make it a little bit more intricate, and then, pop something on some foam tape, do a stamp on a, a piece of nice cardstock, draw a border around it or edge it or something like that, and just pop it up on some foam tape in the corner there. Whatever you want to put in, this is just what I came up with for this box, and I just now have 3 of them. So if I pop these all back in, it just means that I know where my spacing is when I go and put glue on the back of these guys. So just going to pop that upside down. I am on camera. Pop a bit of glue, fair bit of glue. We're going on to, for me, I'm going on to glitter cardstock, so it does need a little bit more stick. Maybe it was 2011. I don't think two years matters, Linda. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think when I first did a show there. I'm sure the lift has always been there. As far as shows that I've done. Yeah, I don't think bumpings on stairs, I don't think you can ever be fit enough for that. That's just torture. Just torture. Oops. Get that guy to stick back down. Okay. So the liquid glue also gives you a little bit of time to kind of move things around, because once you position them in and you need to wiggle it just a little bit because the you know, the petals have been bent out too far on one, or you can rotate them around and try and get it to fit in the spot that you've got there, but sometimes you might need to just move a few bits. But also, I forgot to tell you guys, I had some very lovely singing from Miss Linda and and Gordon on my birthday. They left me a great voicemail while I was out eating my body weight in Japanese food. So that was nice. It was nice to get some singing. It's very lovely. I didn't get to tell you the other night, Linda, when you were on the game with Ben and the boys. You were picking up Miss Ellie, I think. But yes, I did say thank you for the lovely singing. You guys definitely work behind the scenes in theatre, that's for sure. But so do I, and that's why I don't sing in public. It's not good. Okay. So that's most of me done for gluing. So now that I've got all of those little bits in their spot, they will dry that glue eventually, but just giving them a little bit of a press down. If you wanted to, I put my pink rhinestones in the top of the middle of these, and they've got enough little kind of glue on the back to just kind of stick it. If you wanted to really make sure that they're going to stay adhered in there, you can drop a little bit of glue in the middle. And this one I did the little rhinestones, so that's just a drop of glue and then a rhinestone in the middle. You don't have to. I'm not going to do it with these ones today. I'm just going to leave them kind of fairly plain and blank. But I'm just going to pop my acetate lid on, just like that. I'm going to take this 12-inch long strip that we measured before that was 5/8 thick. I'm just going to kind of center it on the front of my box here, bend the corners down at the side, hopefully flip my, oh no, one of them is going to move. That'd be bleeping right. It's got plenty of glue, it just hasn't started holding yet. Okay. Right, let me use one of these because I can make the belly band on one of these. So just bend that down, flip your box over, fold that on the edge on the right hand side, and then fold again here. Now what I like to do is, before I go and glue it down, is just give those a good proper crease to make them nice sharp corners. And I can pop that back in there, and I'm just going to pop some glue, just kind of with my finger, kind of line that up. Put my finger here because I know I don't want to glue past that spot. Come on, liquid glue. Just pop a bit of that there. Lay my band down, and I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on that for a minute while that kind of goes off. Now's the time that I want to get a sentiment prepped. I might just do best wishes on this one. I mean, you don't have to do a sentiment if you don't want. And I mean, worst case scenario, you can always change it up and, you know, put something else on there. You know, just change over the belly band. It's not a big commitment. So These lids are so ridiculously staticky that once you've taken them on and off once or twice, they pick everything up. So I'm just probably run the worst thing in the world over there, which is a tissue. But microfiber cloth would be really good. Mine's just too far away from my desk for me to reach right now. So I'll pop that back on. Take my belly band. Hey, that looks kind of cool with two. I mean, you do start to lose the flowers behind, but, you know, maybe one could be a little bit thinner and you could pop a couple on. Or have them at different spots on your box, perhaps. Yeah. Just gently pop this onto this staticky dog hair everywhere. Oh, come on. It's glued a little bit tight. Or I'm just not holding my tongue in the right shape. Probably a bit of both. Why will it go on that box but not this one? They're the same size. Oh, come on, world. It's my birthday week. Don't do this to me. When did we kind of get from having a birthday to a birthday week to a birthday month? I mean, I definitely don't go as far as a birthday month, but it's definitely a birthday week. All right, let me just peel that open a little bit. It's still a bit damp under there, so it'll stick. Yeah, when did we become thing about our birthdays being, you know, multiple days? Multiple days. All right, so pop that down. I'm going to find one of my little hearts. Do I want this one, or do I want the brighter pink one, or do I want to put two on here? Maybe I'll pop two on and then I'll pop my, yeah. That's a different shape. That might be the one that I cut. I think I cut it twice and it cut wonky because I ran it through the dye machine and the dye obviously moved. That's funny. So a little bit of glue on the back of my sentiment. Pop that down. Let's get some foam taped for these little guys. This is just the Couture Creations double-sided foam tape. This is the 6mm width. You can get it in the Papercrafting Australia store. Okay, peel the little backing guy off. Again, no fingernails, so it's not fun. Pop that one there. Ugh, you can tell it's the end of a tutorial when you're just fighting with double-sided tape. Double-sided foam tape. Cute. It was sung with love, Linda, it was. So I'm surprised the dogs weren't howling in the background singing along with you. So that's the finished shadow box. So I can pop this up on, you know, you can stand it on its bottom. You can lay it on its back if you've got a little easel. You could sit it up on the easel and display it that way. It's going to be great to you know, pop on a little gift to somebody, pop it on their desk at work, brighten the space up, anything you like. So I hope, even though that's been a little bit traumatic for some of you, I hope you do get through and finish that one, even if it takes you 9 days to roll a flower a day. The best thing is that you know this may or may not be the kind of craft for you. So you know that now. So I'll put back here for a second, and yeah, just say thank you for joining me for this one. I know it's been a little bit longer than we normally go. Just the rolling of the flowers is a little bit tricky. But if you've made it to the end of the video, if you're watching, you know, throw a little I don't know, let's throw a flower comment in the comment section to say you made it to the end. But I hope you enjoyed that one. Join me again on Monday night. I think it'll be 8 o'clock. I haven't kind of got my schedule sorted yet, but I think 8 o'clock Monday night Australian Eastern Daylight Time, while we still have daylight savings, and we'll let you in on more of the April box that's coming. And there's I think you guys have seen some bits and pieces. You've seen the layered monograms, you've seen the little die and stamp set that I've got for you, so we'll explore all of the colors and all the other little bits and pieces that are going to go in. So yeah, thank you for joining me. Once you get your finished creations done, I'd love to see what came out of it, especially if you did a different layout to the ones that I've shown you and the one that I did today. So pop a photo on our Facebook page at Papercrafting Australia and let us see what you've done. Anyway, I will catch you all soon. I'll see you Monday night. Thanks for joining me. Bye.